Welcome to iProperty Your Mind Matters series in partnership with the Malaysia Positive Psychology Association, or MPPA. iProperty.com.my believes in assisting agents to improve their personal and professional lives and live the life they really desire in the property industry. In this special episode, I am Hanaa Wong Abdullah, and I'm the Secretary of MPPA, and I will be sharing with you how to dial up your strengths and thrive. Shall we start? Okay. See this picture? See the strengths there? And then the little dials at the bottom? That's dialing it up, and we keep going until we thrive. So this picture is a visual representation of our topic. And this picture inspires me because that is a thriving picture. Agree? Right. Now, how do we thrive? How do we know our strengths to dial up if we don't know what the strengths are? So it's important to know our strengths. Why? Because that can be the difference between engagement and performance in people. So during this pandemic, we hear a lot of people who get into depression, even people who are committing suicide because they have lost their hope, they have lost the will, and it's because there's no engagement. They don't feel that they want to be engaged in life. Now, let's all take care of our mental health and keep up, our wanting to be engaged in life. That's very important. Okay? So that affects all our performance as well in work and in everything that we do, right? How do we keep everything up so that we can thrive? So when we want to know our strengths, that's very important to understand why we want to know our strengths. So in Googling for this information, if you are so inclined, you can just type in that question, why should we know our strengths? You will come up with a lot of information. And I have picked out 3 points that I want to share with you that I think make a lot of sense, right? The first one is your strengths are things that you can leverage on to push yourself further. So do we want to push ourselves, or do you like being pushed by others? So either way is important, because when we are pushed, we can achieve more, we go further. And this comes from Leaderonomics. I'm sure some of you know who Leaderonomics are, right? They are an organization, they teach about leadership, and they said this, and I agree with them 100%. Second point that I think is important for us to know is knowing your strengths means you know what activities to engage in that will allow you to shine. Want to shine or not? Of course you do. I do. I want to shine in the areas that I'm good in, that I know I can perform well, and that I know I can help other people. So what are the areas that you want to shine in? Definitely, as agents in the property industry, you want to shine because I know that there's awards as well, right? Every year for the best performing agent or an agency. So you want to shine, and if you know your strengths, you can definitely do that faster. Okay. And then the third point here is Gallup research shows that there's a strong connection between working from one's strength or living a strengths-based life with one's engagement in life. So again, the word engagement. So I think engagement is just so important. That's why I'm highlighting it twice. And this comes from Forbes. So all of you who are into research, please go ahead and find out from this link if you want to read more about it, okay? So after we understand why it's important for us to know our strengths, we want to find out what is a strength? How do you define a strength? How do I know that what I'm having is a strength? Just because somebody else tells me or gives me a compliment, is that my strength? Well, there are a few ways to find out your strength, but what it is defined here from Dr. Alex Lindley, and his company is Capfinity, also from Strengths Profile. So a strength defined by Dr. Alex Lindley is a strength, something you do regularly, something that you do well, and which energizes you when you do it. So a strength is measured across these 3 areas: performance, energy, and use. So when we understand that, it is much easier to identify. All right. So I put the 3 areas into 3 circles, and I'm going to show you an example, because sometimes things that we do well in performance, we may not be doing very often, or it may not make us feel very good. One example might be detail. Look at detail in the middle between do well and do often, performance and use. It doesn't touch the feel good place, because, for example, I might be good in detail as in, you give me a piece of writing, an essay, and I can very, very quickly see typos, grammar mistakes very fast, right? Because I have an eye for it. So I'm good at it, and I do it very often because English correction, right? All my friends ask me, please help, and I do it a lot. But it doesn't make me feel good. Example, it doesn't make me feel good. I feel tired when I have to do all this, even though I do it well. So are there things that you do well just because you're good at it, but you don't enjoy it? And it takes a lot of energy for you to do it, even though you're very good at it. Got? I'm sure you have, right? So those are things that we term as learned behaviors in strengths profile. So I talk about strengths profile a lot because I'm accredited there, and it's very easy for us to do the assessment and then find out what our top strengths are from there. So in this picture, in this slide, you can see that there are things that you might do well in, that you don't do often, and some things, for example, time optimizer, you feel good in doing it, but you may not be very, you might not perform very well in that. The ones in pink, the moral compass, relationship deepener, and being empathic, is what we would call weaknesses, because we don't do well in them. Example, we don't do well with that. We don't do it very often, or we may, depends, a variable use. And it definitely, we do not feel good. It de-energizes us in terms of energy. So those are what we call weaknesses. Okay, don't do well, de-energize, and variable use. Those are weaknesses. And we don't want to focus too much on weaknesses, because statistics have shown that when in organizations that focus on strengths, performance goes up by 36%. And in organizations where you focus on weaknesses, performance goes down by 26%, right? So you can ask me later where I got those statistics from. It's actually from global research of 20,000 people. And that's from Sue Langley, my teacher in positive psychology. She's based in Australia, from Langley Institute. Okay, so those of you who like numbers, that's some numbers for you. And then here I'm sharing with you the world's most popular strengths. This was a survey done, a research paper done in 2018, and it showed 7 of the top realized strengths, things that we do well, that we do a lot, and which makes us feel good, and 4 of the top learned behaviors: work ethic, detail, personalization, and empathy, which are things that we do well, learned behaviors, variable use, but it de-energizes us. So the 2 middle columns, column 2 and column 3, are things, the top strengths that de-energize. In fact, third column is not a strength, it's the weakness column, right? And then the last column for mission, time optimizer, etc., that is the top unrealized strengths. What are unrealized strengths? They are strengths that where we perform well, we do a lot. We don't do a lot, sorry, I beg your pardon. We perform well, it energizes us, we feel good, but which we're not doing a lot of. Give me 1 minute, I see a little bat in my laptop. Okay, all right, and I'm back. So sorry about that. Right, so here we have the world's most popular strengths. Have a look at this and see where you might be resonating with, 1 or 2 of those strengths that are listed, because this was done globally and it represented the most popular ones that came out, right? Do you have courage? Is that a weakness for you? or maybe it's a strength for you. You know, what else here? Detail is a learned behavior, top learned behavior in the world, which means there are many people here who are good at detailed work, and they probably do it a lot, but it de-energizes them. That's the second column, right? It takes a lot of energy. And then what else? Do you have self-belief? But you're not bringing it out very much? That's in the top unrealized strength column, the last one, because you're hiding it. You might believe in yourself, you know you can do the job, but you're not bringing it out very much. Okay, so please do, because it's an energizing strength. That means you will feel good about it. So please do more. So in the study of strengths, how do we want to do? We want to dial it up. When we know what we have, what our strengths are naturally, then we want to know when to dial it up and when to dial it down. So this is the slide to show you visually. All of us hold the remote control of our strengths. This one is my aircon control, but same concept, right? The temperature, I can dial it up and I can dial it down or press up and down as the temperature that I want. Same with strengths. So an example and a story that I can share with you is when I first came across the strengths profile, I did the assessment, and moral compass and authenticity came up for me. So what is authenticity? It means that whatever I'm thinking and feeling, it shows on my face straight away, right? What you see is what you get. Cannot hide. I don't know how to. And then the other one, moral compass, what does that mean? It means that what is right and what is wrong is very clear to me in my head. Okay, so I have very fixed views on that. So moral compass was one of my top strengths. Now, as an entrepreneur, I have to meet so many different people, right? And if I meet somebody who is talking a lot, but I know that they are not exactly telling 100% of the truth about something that I know about, right? Then my brain, my mind, I'll be thinking, question mark on this person's integrity. Warning bells, alarm bells. I don't want to do business with this person. I don't want to be their friend. I don't want to spend time with them. So my authenticity is coming up and it's showing on my face. As a potential business person or business partner or customer, is that good? No, it's not good. So that's why I have there, use wisely. Know when we want to dial up a strength, and just because it's a strength, we also know when to dial it down as and when the situation requires. Is that good to know? So remember, who holds the control? You do, right? I do. We hold our own remote controls on our strengths so that we know when to dial something up and dial something down. And it works the same for our weaknesses. Just because we're not good at our weaknesses doesn't mean that we cannot dial it up. We just need to understand that it probably requires a lot of energy to dial it up, get the thing done, and then go and rest and recharge. Okay, so that's dialing up weaknesses, dialing down strengths. Even for being introverted or extroverted, we know we are not 100% of the time one way or the other. We all adjust, right? Certain situations, we tone down extrovertedness. And certain situations, we can dial up our introvertedness. Okay, when to be quiet, when not to be quiet. We can, because who holds the remote control? We do. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, please focus on your strengths and not your weaknesses, because focusing on weaknesses brings down our energy, requires a lot, and we don't want to live life having days whereby our energy is low all the time. We want to live every day where our energy is up and we focus on our strengths, we perform to the maximum of our abilities at peak performance, and therefore we can thrive. Is that good? So here is the picture again. I hope you can remember this picture, and I hope you've learned something today on how you can dial up your strengths to thrive. Thank you very much. I am looking forward to you seeing more in the property industry, dialing up your strengths so that you can keep going and make the property industry booming again. All the best.